Hi, Nicole Mashburn, and today we're going to talk about organ systems. We're going to give you a brief overview of the different organ systems that you find in the body, and then as you progress through the course, we'll learn each organ system in more and more detail. So this time, just learn the name of the organ systems and the organs that are part of each organ system, and generally what they do. So not a whole lot of detail, just a good overview. Okay, so the first organ system we're going to cover is called the integumentary system. And this is essentially, whoops, I kind of covered over it, is your skin, your hair, and your nails. So your skin, the outside covering, your hair, and your nails. And so the integumentary system is your external body covering. And what it does is protects your deeper tissues, the stuff inside your body, from the environment. It also has a metabolic function. It actually does something for you besides protection. It actually helps you make vitamin D. And vitamin D is something that your body requires to absorb calcium in your diet. It also houses what are called cutaneous. And when you think about cutaneous, that usually means skin. That's another word that means skin, like a subcutaneous injection is something below the skin. It has receptors for pain, pressure. It also has sweat and oil glands. So when you're doing things like sweating or flushing, when your skin gets really, really red, you can use your skin to help you regulate your temperature. And you can feel things. So you have fine pressure and deep pressure and itching and things like that. So your skin is basically a barrier covering for your entire body, and it allows you to make vitamin D and to sense your external environment. The next system is the skeletal system, and we're going to cover this in this 201 in your first A&P. And the skeletal system is the bones and the joints. And the joints is basically the space or the connection between two bones. So your elbow is the joint between your upper arm bone and your lower arm bones. And the main function of the skeleton is protection. Think about your skull. Your brain's inside your skull, and your skull protects your brain. It's also the support, so it's like a scaffold. So all your organs and your muscles kind of hang on your bones. So it acts as a scaffolding system. So it's the framework that your muscles use to move you. So when you walk, your muscles contract and they move those bones. We also use our bones to make our blood. We have bone marrow, and that's where our blood cells are made. And we also use our bones as a bank. You've used your bones to help store calcium. You need calcium for lots of different things that you'll learn throughout the semester, but we store calcium in our bones. The next system are the muscles. So we have the muscular system. And the muscles allow us movement. This basically allows us to move. And so there's different types of muscle. You have skeletal muscle, and you have, I can't write with my mouse, sorry guys, cardiac muscle, and you have smooth muscle. So let's just take these three words and see if we can break it down. Skeletal muscle, cardiac, and smooth. That's the three types of muscles. Skeletal muscle moves bones. That's how we walk. Cardiac muscle, that's our heart. That moves blood. And then smooth muscle is anytime you have a tube, like the vessels, so moving blood through the tubes, or your digestive system. There's a tube here called your esophagus that allows you to move food from your mouth into your stomach. So those are the three types of muscles. So the muscles allow you to move, allow you to give facial expressions, maintain your posture, and your skeletal muscles, when they contract, they generate heat. So when you're cold and you shiver, that's your muscles generating heat. The next system is your nervous system, and it includes your brain and your spinal cord and your nerves. So you have your brain up in your cranial cavity, up in your head, the spinal cord down your backbone, and then nerves going out to the different parts of your body. And it is a fast-acting control system. It's really fast. And so at the blink of an eye, literally. And so it responds to changes either outside or inside, both outside and inside your body. So you can see things, you can sense things, will tell your muscles to move. So anything basically that needs to be controlled, it's in control of. So it can activate muscles, it can make your salivary glands, make more spit. So anything that needs to be done, the nervous system is generally in control of all of that. Okay, so the next control system is the endocrine system. It's also a control mechanism, but unlike the nervous system, where the nervous system is really, really fast, the endocrine system is slower. It's instead of being lightning quick like the nervous system, the endocrine system can take minutes or hours or days or even years, so it's a lot slower. The endocrine system uses something called hormones, and hormones are chemicals that are made by the endocrine glands, and they are then secreted into the blood, and they travel through the blood to whatever organ they're going to go to, and they're going to cause that organ to do something. So if you think about a menstrual cycle, especially you girls, that's your endocrine system and your reproductive system working together. And so that's a monthly thing. So it's not near as fast as the nervous system, but it does help control things like growth and metabolism and sleeping and waking and reproduction and blood sugar. All of these things are controlled by the endocrine system. You'll do a lot of this later on in your course. Some of the endocrine glands are your pineal, which is involved in sleep-wake. Pituitary, it makes a bunch of hormones. One of these is growth hormone, which helps you monitor, or helps you grow, to kind of gives you the rate at which you grow. Thyroid hormone, which is involved in your metabolism. Your thymus, which is right here, which it's involved in immunity, helps kind of keep your it helps keep your immune system going. We'll talk about how that works later on. Your adrenal gland, you may have heard of your adrenal gland. A lot of people have heard of adrenaline, but it does a lot of different things besides adrenaline, and we'll talk more about that later. Your pancreas, it's involved in blood sugar. You may have heard of insulin. That has to do with your pancreas. Your ovaries, they make things like estrogen, so you may have heard of estrogen if you're a female. And your testes make things like testosterone. So again, just a quick overview now, and we'll go into a whole lot more detail later on as we move through the endocrine system. Of course, cardiovascular system, and the job of the cardiovascular system is to transport blood, and it's going to transport inside that blood. You're going to have oxygen, carbon dioxide. It's going to take stuff to your body, nutrients. When your body is doing its job, it's going to make waste products. You want to get rid of that, so it'll take the wastes out. And so you have a heart, which is the pump, and the vessels that are the tubes. So form follows function. You have a pump that can pump blood through these tubes, okay? The lymphatic and immune system. Some books will show these as two separate systems. We kind of put them together because they work in conjunction with each other. And so some examples of the lymphatic and immune system, you have your bone marrow, which is where your white blood cells are made, the ones that help you fight off infection. The thymus is one of your immune organs. Your spleen, you have lymph vessels and lymph nodes, okay? And so fluid actually kind of leaks out from your blood vessels, and it's kind of all in your tissues and surrounding the cells in your body. And you don't want this to just stay out there forever. It needs to be recycled and cleaned and taken care of. It just doesn't stay in the same spot forever. So it gets recycled using the lymphatic system. And so basically it picks up leaked fluid from the blood vessels, and any debris or waste product that needs to be taken care of, a bacteria or a virus or whatever you're trying to deal with, it helps remove that from your body. So basically it helps you with your immune system, so to fight off illness or infection or something like that. And you'll get more detail on all of these. Right now we're just the basics, so that if I say immune system, you know, oh yeah, that's how you try to stay well, try to fight off an infection. You have your respiratory system, and this is basically how you breathe. And so it includes your nose and your mouth, so your nasal cavity. And then the pharynx is kind of the back of your throat. And the larynx is that area, kind of your Adam's apple. It's where your vocal cords are, your voice box. And so you breathe in and the air goes down through your pharynx and larynx into the trachea, which is a big tube that then splits off into two bronchi. So here's a bronchus into each lung. So you have your trachea splitting off into a bronchus and then going into a lung. And so its job is to keep the blood supplied with oxygen and take away the carbon dioxide. So you breathe in the oxygen that goes into your blood and out to your organs. Your organs use the oxygen, and the byproduct is carbon dioxide, and that goes back into the blood, and you breathe that out. So we breathe out carbon dioxide. And so basically the job of the respiratory system is gas exchange. And does anyone know why we use oxygen, or why do we have to breathe? Why do we even need oxygen? The answer will always be ATP. You'll learn about ATP later, but this is essentially the energy that our body uses. Okay, so we want to breathe so that we can get the oxygen so we can make the ATP, which is our energy source. All right, last, well, maybe not last, I think we have one more. The digestive system. And the digestive system is basically just a long tube that goes all the way through our body, starting at our mouth and the oral cavity, your mouth, and going out the anus. Okay, so all the way through. So if you ingest food, it travels all the way through the digestive system where it's broken down and absorbed, and then whatever waste product you get rid of when you defecate for fecal matter. And so we want to break down food into smaller units. So we take a steak and we chew it up and we break it down to the smallest parts that our body can actually absorb and use. Anything that we can't digest, we eliminate as feces. So parts of the digestive system are your oral cavity or your mouth, your esophagus, which is the tube that goes down your throat to your stomach. It includes your small and large intestines and your liver. As the food or waste product leaves, it'll go through the rectum and the anus. And we're going to, when you do the lab part of the class, we'll show you all the different parts of the digestive system in the lab section. And you'll learn what each one of these organs do as you move through the course. All right, the urinary system. And this is how you make urine. And so the organs involved are the kidney. Then the kidneys basically filter blood, so they remove waste products, nitrogenous waste products from the blood, and also excess water. So it helps you regulate your water. It helps you regulate electrolytes, things like sodium chloride, like salt. It helps you regulate that. And your acid base. So if you know anything about pH, we'll talk about that. It helps you regulate your blood's pH. So you make your urine in the kidneys, and then it flows down these tubes called ureters, where it's then stored in the urinary bladder until it's time to go to the bathroom, and then you void your bladder through the urethra. So those are the parts of the urinary system. Okay, so we have the male and female reproductive systems, and for reproduction, we're talking about the ability to make a baby. So for the male, we have the prostate gland, which is just inferior or below the bladder. Here's the penis. The testes, where the sperm are made. The testes are housed in a sac called the scrotum. And then the ductus deferens, which is a tube that allows the sperm to leave the testis and then go into the penis. In the female, we have the mammary glands, which is where the milk is made. We have the ovaries, which is where your eggs are made. The eggs will then travel through the uterine tubes to the uterus. If there's a baby there or there's sperm there, the sperm and egg get together. This is where the baby will grow, and then the baby will exit through the vagina. And you're going to learn all kinds of details about this as we move forward. So the main function of the reproductive system is to have offspring. Okay, so testes make the sperm, and the male sex hormone testosterone, and then the female, the ovaries make the eggs, and they make the female sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone. All right, and then we have the mammary glands to nourish the baby once it's born. All right, so what I want you to take away from all this is a little bit of a long video, and I apologize for that. But all these organ systems, they're not individual. I mean, we can't think of these as just individual organ systems that have nothing to do with each other. They all work together, okay? So every organ system depends on the other organ system. We have to have all of them. I can have all my organ systems, but without a brain, then I can't even be alive. So we have to have them all. So all of your cells depend on all the organ systems. They all work together to perform your life functions. You're watching me right now, so think about it. You're breathing. You're digesting whatever you just had, breakfast or lunch or dinner. You're probably making urine. You've been drinking coffee and caffeine because you're up at 2 a.m. and now your kidneys are turning out that urine. You may be sweating. You may be shivering. You're controlling your body temperature. You're taking notes. You're moving your muscles and your bones because as you're moving your hands and taking notes. All of this is going on at the same time. So we're going to learn these systems independently, but we're going to also talk about how they work together as we move through the semester. So there's one more slide in your book I want you to take some time to look at so that you can start to think about how these systems work together. And there's usually some kind of a question on the exam that says, hey, think about a piece of candy, and how does this candy even get into your body, and how is it broken down, and where does it go? Or if you drink some water, how does the water get in your body? Where does it go? What organ system will use that water? So I want you to take some time to look at this slide and kind of work your way through it. This is going to show you how food or water enters into the digestive system. All your systems are on this page. So you have your integumentary system here. Let me change colors. Integumentary system here, basically making your boundary, holding your body together, making the shape of the body. You have the food entering in, going through the digestive system. So the nutrition, once it's broken down, it's going to be absorbed into the blood. The blood's then going to carry that throughout the body. Oxygen is going to enter in from the air, go down your trachea to your lungs. You're going to exchange gases with your blood. So you're going to put oxygen into the blood and take CO2 out of the blood. Your blood's going to pass your kidneys. Your kidneys are going to filter filter the blood, and if you've got too much water or waste that needs to be gotten rid of, you'll make urine that you can get rid of. Whatever you didn't absorb in your digestive system will travel on down and then be eliminated from your body as feces. And then once stuff gets out to your organs, so let's say maybe this is a muscle in your arm. So you've been breathing, you've got this oxygen, you've got maybe, let's say, some sugar, because you know how when you're tired you eat sugar and you feel like you can be more active. So that sugar and that oxygen are going to go to your muscles, and it's going to go out there and feed your muscles. Okay, and then when your muscles use that oxygen and that sugar and they make waste products, you're going to take those waste products and put them back into the blood to get rid of them. So all of these systems work together. So just take a little while to look at this slide and try to think about all the systems that you're using right now. Okay, so just imagine everything that you're using as you're listening to me and what you might do, what other systems you might use if you were to eat or drink something. Okay, well, that's it for this presentation, and we'll do another one soon. Thank you for your attention.